Hello everyone, I am Kinjal Patel, Assistant Professor at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology in the Department of Computer Engineering. So here is the part 2 of chapter 3, Parsing Theory, lecture 3. In this lecture, we will learn L-attributed definitions and translation scheme. Next topic is L-attributed definitions. So there are two types of definitions, S-attributed definitions and L-attributed definitions. S-attributed definitions means the definition in which synthesized attributes are used, called as S-attributed definitions. And L-attributed definitions means the definition in which synthesized and inherited both attributes are used, but the inherited attributes are restricted to be dependent on its left siblings only or its parent. Means the inherited attribute in L-attributed definitions cannot be dependent on right siblings of it. Here is the definition that a syntax-directed definition is L-attributed if each inherited attribute of xj, where j from 1 to n, on the right side of A, means A derives x1, x2 up to xn. Here x1, x2 up to xn are inherited attributes, then it can depends only on the attributes of symbols x1, x2 up to xj minus 1 to the left of xj. Means it can depend on the left symbols only, or it can depends on the inherited attribute of A. Means if A is inherited attribute, then this all value can depend on A. Means if there are inherited attributes x1, x2 up to xj minus 1, then these inherited attributes can depend on its left siblings only. It cannot depend on the right siblings of it. Means x1 cannot depend on the x2, but x2 can depend on x1. And it can also depend on the inherited attribute of A. Means x1, x2 up to xj minus 1 can depend on its left sibling, or it can depend on the parents of that attribute. So here is the example that if A derives x, y, z is an grammar rule, then A can depend on x, A can depend on y, and A can depend on z. Means if A is synthesized attribute, then there are no restrictions for that synthesized attribute. It can depend on any of its child. So this definition is L-attributed definition, as it follows the rule of L-attributed definition. Okay, so the definition is L-attributed definition. But here the A derives x, y, z, then if z is inherited attribute, then it can depend on the attribute of its left side only. Means if z is inherited attribute, then z can depend on x or y either. So z dot in can depend on x dot in, and z dot in can depend on y dot in. So if z depends on x and y, then this definition is L-attributed definition. But if x dot inherited attribute depend on the z dot inherited attribute, means if x dot inherited attribute depends on the z dot inherited attribute, means the x depends on its right sibling, then this definition is not L-attributed definition. So the inherited attribute should depend on the left siblings only, or parent of that sibling. So in L-attributed definition, if the attribute is inherited attribute, then it can depend on left siblings or parents only. And if it is synthesized attribute, then it can depend on any of its child. So here is the production rule that A derives LM. So these are the semantic rules for this production, that here L dot I means L is inherited attribute and it depends on the A dot I. Means L depends on the parent of this attribute. So first semantic rule is according to the rule of L attributed definition. Now second, M dot I depends on the L dot S. Means here M depends on the left sibling. So the second rule also follow the rule of L attributed definition. Now third semantic rule is A dot S depends on the M dot S. So if A is synthesized attribute, then it can depend on any of its child. So here A dot S depends on the M dot S. So third rule also follows the rule of L attributed definition. So all the rules follow the rule of L attributed definition. So first production rule is L attributed definition. Now we'll check for the second rule, that A derives QR, where R dot I depends on the A dot I. Means here R is inherited attribute and it depends on the parent of it. So here R depends on the parent of R, so it is L attributed definition because it follows the rule of L attributed definition. Now next is Q dot I equals to R dot S. Means here in second semantic rule, Q dot I equals to R dot S. So here Q is inherited attribute and it depends on the right siblings, which is R dot S. So this rule does not follow the rules of L attributed definition, as inherited attribute cannot be dependent on the right siblings. So the second production rule is not L attributed definition because of the second semantic rule. That this production rule, this syntax directed definition is not L attributed definition because the inherited attribute Q dot I of the grammar symbol Q depends on the attribute R dot S of the grammar symbol to its right. So the second production rules are not included in L attributed definitions. Next topic is translation scheme. So translation scheme is a context-free grammar in which attributes are associated with grammar symbols and semantic actions enclosed between braces are inserted within right side of production. Means translation schemes are the scheme which can be executed if they are enclosed in curly braces only. So the attributes are used to evaluate the expression along the process of parsing. And during the process of parsing, the evaluation of attribute takes place by consulting the semantic action enclosed in curly braces. Means the evaluation of attributes can be performed only if semantic rules are enclosed in curly braces. And translation scheme generates the output by executing the semantic action in an ordered manner. So to perform the execution of translation scheme, the semantic action should be enclosed in curly braces. So this process uses the depth first traversal, means from top to bottom and left to right manner. So we'll see translation scheme by one example, that we want to create translation scheme for infix to postfix notation. Means we want to create a translation scheme which can convert the expression in infix to postfix notation. So here is the translation scheme for infix to postfix notation, that E derives TR. So I derives add operator. Here operator or add operator is reference of operator. It's not used to print any operator. Okay, then T. So T used to represent the digit. Then here curly braces represent the translation scheme. Means the semantic rules enclosed in these curly braces will be executed. So print add operator dot lexeme, means here is the reference of that operator, and in these curly braces this operator will get printed. Then R1 or null, or T denote number. So here number represent the reference of digit, and in curly braces translation scheme has been placed. means print number dot value. So in these curly braces, the semantic rule will get printed. So digit will get printed in these curly braces. So this is translation scheme for the conversion of infix into postfix notation. So now from this translation scheme, we'll generate one parse tree for 9 minus 5 plus 2. So we want to generate the parse tree for this infix notation, and we want to convert this infix notation into postfix notation. So first we'll start from the starting symbol. So E derives TR. So E derives TR, and from this T, the number will get executed. So T derives number and print that number. So here first number is 9. So the reference of that 9 and the translation scheme of that 9 means the 9 will get printed in this translation scheme only. Now next, R derives. So here is the rule of R, that add operator. So here is the operator minus. So first minus operator will get reference, then T, then print minus and R1. So minus, T, print minus and R1. Here R and R1 represent the two different values. So here you can also write R1 if you want to. Okay, now here T derives, so T derives number. So next number is 5. So from this T, 5 will be derived, and this 5 is reference to digit, and here the translation scheme of 5, which is to print 5. Now next we want to perform plus 2. So from this R, we will derive the operation for plus. So here add operator. So operator is plus. So plus, then T, then print add operator dot lexeme means the plus operator will get printed here. So print plus and R. Now here 9 minus 5 plus 2, next digit is 2. So from this T, 2 will get printed, that derive 2 and translation scheme for 2. So here 9 minus 5 plus 2 string has been passed. So from this R will derive null symbol. So null. So now this translation scheme or this parse tree represent the infix to postfix notation. Okay, now we'll perform depth first traversal, means we'll traverse from top to bottom and in left to right manner. So we can see that postfix notation has been passed in this parse tree. Like from top to start from top to bottom. So here print 9 means 9 get printed. Then from left to right scan, and here print 5. So after 9, 5 get printed. So 9, 5. Then minus get printed. So 9, 5 minus. Then scan from left to right. So 2 gets printed. So 9, 5 minus 2. And then plus gets printed. So 9, 5 minus 2 plus. So here is the postfix notation for this infix notation, 9, 5 minus 2 plus. So this is how we can construct translation scheme for infix to postfix conversion. So here parse tree gets generated from this expression in first come first serve manner of operator. Means there are two operators, minus and plus, in this expression. So first minus will get executed and then plus will get executed. So if there are two different operators in the same expression, that minus and star means the two operators with different priorities are used in same expression, then also the first operator will get evaluated first in parse tree, then the second operator. So this parse tree gets generated in the manner of the operator which comes first in the expression. Okay, so using this translation scheme, we can construct parse tree for any expression. So in this lecture, we have learned L attributed definitions and translation scheme. Thank you.